to know if this option has the 4 additional classrooms that we requested, and TEA requires a certain size square footage for kindergarten, for first, and so forth.
Yes,
so
ma'am,
on
it
and so
does.
forth. So, does that include all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this is option number 5,
Number 5.
and the total amount on that one is what? That's what I'm not showing on
The total amount is $19,900, starting out at $16,900 plus the soft costs that are shown on the screen and in the PowerPoint.
Okay, 19.9, and then that includes soft cost, you're saying?
Yes, that includes soft costs.
Give me just a moment.
We have, part of what we're going to discuss at the end is what we've done in the terms of the negotiation of the soft costs. We have before on the fall projects, everything included what you paid outside the architectural contract and what you paid under the architectural contract adds up to about 11.9%. And we've reduced that down to a much lower figure, 7.7. And we'll show you the details on that, and that's part of the handout that we have for you tonight.
Okay, so real quick, this option, which is option number 5 for Vestal Elementary, has the additional 4 classrooms, and it also shows that we're keeping the 2 additional buildings and the gym.
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Not renovating them, but keeping them.
correct,
We're
right,
not touching it, we're just connecting the utility to it.
right.
Yes,
I understand that part. Okay, thank you.
The other option we were asked to bring to you tonight for Vestal was option 6, and that was to look at matching up to the facilities assessment construction cost that was given. That was $16,004,000. This option has the same basic configuration, but with some reduction in square feet. It has the minimum TEA classrooms. It has the 4 extra classrooms. Right. Yeah. Brian, you want to check this?
What we did in this option was, see how this one has 3, what makes an E? We pushed that together to eliminate perimeter walls, which is a decent cost. But the only thing, it will bring interior classrooms that don't have any natural light. Just 1 row of those. But that's how we got the square foot of the cost down on that one.
That's
retaining the 3.
That's option 6.
Option 6 for
On Vestal. Yeah.
Sir.
So the difference, Mr. Chair? The
Yes.
difference between the 2 is the other option, which is option 6, is not going to have any natural light in that second.
Just,
in some of it.
yeah, so just for whatever the 2 rows of classrooms that would have had natural light right
There'll
there.
be some inboard classrooms in the center of this space that may not have these.
So what's bringing up the cost? That one's a higher cost, correct?
Low.
Oh, it's a lower cost on that one?
Yeah,
We were lowered it by the configuration and also reducing square footage.
And it came out to 19 million, and then,
Total.
So match to the directive you gave us last time, so it's really
yeah.
$90 million.
The only thing what's happening, you're also with that option, you're reducing the cafeteria. I don't know if Mr. Soto took you to the cafeteria. So what they have now is not large enough. So you need to at least go larger and kind of be fair with some of the other elementaries. Maybe not as large because they don't have as many students, but you still want to help out the school when it comes to traffic flow. The stage has to be a decent size, and when we're looking at these options, we're shrinking a lot. We're squeezing all that. So I know that when we went to Vestal, we looked at we estimated the square footage, so they were almost going to get the same size, not very much larger. And I was like, no way, that's not right for Vestal. They need to get a little bit larger, and then the stage, it needs a lot of work. So it needed to expand with some storage and stuff like that. I'm not too familiar how Vestal goes. Maybe Mr. Oreste can answer that as far as performances and stuff like that. I know schools that they do a lot of performances, though that storage in the stage areas comes in handy to them. So, but I knew that the Vestal cafeteria needed to enlarge just by looking at it and from experience, and also the stage it was horrible. I knew the stage needed to be revamped, and of course, we provided with a modern stage and storage for them. So that's just a comment of mine when we do look into this option 6, the bare minimum.
Mr. Chair?
Who's same thing? Yeah, same thing for Carabel, and option 7 does the same thing. I didn't get to visit Carabel, but I did visit Vestal, so I know I can talk to that directly. So that's just a comment out there.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Anybody else over here? Okay, Mr. Quesada.
Yeah, so, just so I guess everyone's clear, so for Bell, option 6, and then there's option 7. Both options have the exact same number of classrooms, but we're just squeezing out maybe those common areas, like you just said, storage, space. Yeah, exactly. And then in Vestal, same thing, we have option 7 and option 6. We have the exact same number of classrooms in option 5 and option 6. Again, we're just squeezing out of some common areas, like you said, maybe a storage space or a cafeteria, right?
Mr. Chair,
That's correct.
Thank you so much.
the only thing I want to do, Mr. Soto, do you have any concerns, anything you may want to share with us in any of those different,
I give you a handout just so, because we're at Bel Air, we're at the board meeting in Bel Air. So Bel Air's cafetorium, as Ms. Jasmine phrased it, it's 6,100 square feet. And these new ones will be at 7,150 on the higher end option. And the lower end option is at 7,000. Just so you guys can get a visual on comparing apples to apples. So that's kind of the cafeteria you guys are gonna get for those new schools. A little bit bigger, in all fairness. And then the thing with the gym though, the gym, they had to reduce square footage to get the number down. The gymnasiums, the gym is 3,200 on the higher option and about 3,000 on the lower option. Right now, if you look at Vestal, as the Vestal gym that we're keeping, that's about 4,100 square feet. So you gotta see that we're gonna lose about 1,100 square feet of gymnasium on either one of the options. They're taking about 1,000 square feet, so you're taking out the big chunk from the gyms. And that's on both options. But they had it, as they said, they had to reduce it somewhere. If you look at the library is 3,000 square feet. The gymnasium is gonna be the same size as the library. And you gotta understand with elementary, as Mr. Bundes knows, usually you take the whole grade level into PE. So that gym is gonna be, it's TA requirement, but it is small.
Mr. Soto, did you find any other square footage areas that we've increased that we normally don't have right now?
I looked at the book room and general storage, and that room did go to 1,400 square feet. So, I don't know what the plan was with that general storage, 1,400 square feet of storage, instead of us using, I don't know if we use that much book room. I mean, maybe Mr. Bundes and our elementary principals can say we need that much book room, or maybe we can modify some of that square footage and put it into our gymnasium where it's gonna benefit our kids instead of us storing. Usually, we use classroom sets, and I know there used to be storage inside some of those classrooms.
I have a question.
Yeah, typically
I don't know if we need 1,400 square feet of book room.
Typically, I mean, we shouldn't have a classroom set. The state provides a book for every student. I know that the campuses I worked in the past, usually we had 2 book rooms, one for the upper grades and then one somewhere closer to the lower grades. So how much storage did you say, about 1,400?
About 1,400, and then on the previous, I was just looking at, on the previous one, it had 250 storage, so I don't know.
On the previous one?
2,500, I believe, sir.
Oh, maybe it was a typo.
2,500.
Maybe it was a typo. It was 250 on here, so.
2,500.
2,000.
I think
Okay, which school are we
250 was
talking
storage in the
talking
administration
about?
office, maybe.
Which one are we referring to?
There is a store in.
No, which school are we referring to at this point?
Right now, it's kind of, they're the same.
They're the same basically as the size of rooms because the projected enrollment in these options is the same.
Okay, I'm asking what school are you referring to right now?
Okay. Both of them, the things that we just answered, I'm not sure which
Vestal,
one.
we can say Vestal.
Yeah, we're on Vestal right now.
So right now, I have a question, Mr. Chair. On these numbers that you provided with us, to us, I'm sorry, Mr. Soto, which are these, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's for reference.
So
Maybe it was a typo.
is this what, what do you have on? My question here is, this information that we were provided, does this show what, are you giving us these numbers on what it currently has?
Yes, it's just so you guys have a reference point, because you guys have been to all these campuses, so you can reference what.
So this is the current square footage on each of these campuses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I was making sure of. So currently, the square footage for the Vestal cafeteria is currently 4,640. On option number 5, what is the square footage of the cafeteria for Vestal, if, once we do this, or we go with option number 5?
I think Ms. Custer, Mr. Soto has provided you large copy of the breakdown of the square footages. Do you have it in front of you? I saw them earlier
Yeah,
passing.
they have them in that package, yes.
Give me just a minute.
It's a combination of the cafeteria and kitchen stage. For option 5 is 7,150.
For option 5, the size of the cafeteria stage combination is 7,150.
Kitchen as well.
And that also includes the kitchen.
So it's kitchen, cafeteria, and stage?
Yes.
About 71, oh, okay. Is that why you call it a cafetorium, whatever?
Is that the way it's set up? Okay, so right now, the current square footage includes that also? The 4,650 includes the kitchen, the cafeteria, and the stage? Is that correct, Mr. Soto?
So their 7,100 includes 3 parts. Does your 4,500, whatever, does that, 46, yeah, does that include all 3 parts to it?
No, the stages range on for example, Vestal, the stage is 560. I'm sorry, it's all included. You're right, it's all included.
So, Mr. Soto, in the number that you gave, it includes all 3?
Okay.
So we're going from 4,640 to 7,000.
150. Yes, ma'am.
Cafeteria.
Kitchen and stage.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Kyle, is there something you want to add, or did you want to share with Jerry?
Mr. Soto cleared it.
Okay.
So that 4,600 does include all 3 parts to it?
I think that's the number David had come up with, isn't it, sir?
Yeah, we had Mr. Gonzalez, our facilities, go out there and shoot the kitchen area and then go shoot the whole cafeteria.
Oh, I just want to make sure, because at first,
Okay, because I want to make sure.
Let me get a hold of them just to make sure.
yeah, I want to make sure that's correct.
I'll call David.
Because, yes, I have the stage at 560. I have the stage at 560, Mr. Chair. So add 4640 and the stage at 560.
What about the kitchen? Does that include the kitchen, the 4640?
That gives us 5,200 if we add the 560.
Yeah, we need the kitchen. That is a kitchen.
No, we're going to get the kitchen.
So we'll probably be about 6,000. We're pretty much, I feel comfortable with that 7,000 now.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Brian told me that the kitchen cannot be included, that's another 1,400 square feet, above and beyond the number that Mr. Soto gave. Yes, ours does. So theirs is 6,000, ours is 7,100.
That's about right then, because you have to increase the size because it's too small. The stage and storage up there needed to at least double in size. So okay, At least is my thoughts, guys, sorry.
Yeah, we believe that the way it's programmed, the cafeteria will suffice with 7,000 or 7,150. The only question was the gym.
Yeah, and
Okay, so right now, the gym at Vestal, the size of the gym is showing 4,230 square feet. If we choose one of these two options, is each one of them different, or are they both the same in the gym? They are. What,
it's 200 square feet off from one option to another.
So one's 3,200, one's 3,000.
The
one's 3,200 and the other one's how big?
3,000.
So they are smaller. Okay, okay.
Yeah, the floor, Madam, is 3,000 is the floor that's programmed. Vestal's floor right now is 4,176. That's without storage and coach's office.
Okay, because the square footage that you have here, sir,
Is
which is
total.
4,230 is
That's the total, that's
including
including the coach's office and storage.
coach's office and storage.
Yes.
Is the square footage that you guys have included?
On your programming sheet, yes, 3,420 per Vestal up in 6 examples.
If we were to include the coach's
Yeah, that's
office
storage
and
office.
storage,
2 storage rooms, 1 office.
so it's going to be smaller. Okay, you, give me a minute, sir. You said you also had to reduce some general space, correct?
General circulation space.
General circulation space.
Organized so that there is more efficient, if you will, so that reservations come down.
When you say general circulation space, can you tell me exactly what that means, sir?
Hallways,
Okay.
ways,
Vestibules, lobbies.
lobbies.
Okay, that's what I was making sure. I was making sure that's what it meant.
The,
Okay,
Correct.
the minimum TEA requirement for a library media center is 3,000 square feet.
that's the requirement?
Yes,
3,000 what, sir?
3,000 square feet
3,000 square feet for a library.
for a library.
Thank you.
Mr. Oreste, you had a question?
Going away from square footage for a second, what about the outside? What are we doing there?
It's a combination of.
Well, yes,
CMU.
the exterior and interior of the building, majority is CMU walls. The exterior finishes are going to be majority face brick veneers, which is
The exterior is going to be what?
face brick veneer.
Brick all the way around?
Yes, we clad it. There may be some areas that may have a different finish for aesthetics, but generally speaking, the exterior will be face brick. And that means less maintenance for the district.
But
It's a good
like,
long-lasting product.
for example, at Gillette, we have the stucco panels.
Yeah.
We have stucco panels, and we have brick in front.
There would be a combination of that on these projects as well,
Okay.
stucco and face brick.
Okay, but what's the combination though? I mean, you say,
It's 50-50 combination.
and there's nothing on the exterior that could be changed to reduce the price rather than reducing the square footage?
There's a lot of ways to reduce if you go stud walls inside, but the district's prerogative was to do all CMU walls.
I'm sorry, ma'am?
The district requested all CMU walls, but we can go stud walls inside.
Okay, I'm asking a question though, because you say no. I'm just asking a question. I'm talking about the exterior, I'm not talking about the interior wall. I'm talking
The exterior finishes are brick and plastic.
Okay, so that's what my question again is there anything that can be changed on the exterior rather than reducing the square footage?
I would think by simplifying the design, an aesthetic thing, just simplifying designs, the back of the wall have stud wall instead of CMU wall, that would reduce costs, but the prerogative of the district is to go with CMU wherever possible. Just because it's long-term.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about the exterior
Exterior?
itself. Just, that's all I'm talking about.
You know, I think brick and plaster veneers are relatively economical.
That's currently what it's going to be looking, or that's
Yeah.
the.
Yes, Yes.
There's not a lot of opportunity to pick up a lot of things by changing the exterior.
Right.
You need to have these buildings for 80 years lifespan, not so much as 30.
Those are the common materials that most.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we weren't going like we did like with the STEM high school and, you know, going that fancy on the elementary school where we haven't done the other.
That one has dressed stone, I believe. It's got
Right,
stone.
yeah, I
on it.
wanna make
So
sure
that
that
stone is
that-
more
to that
expensive.
extent.
Much more expensive.
But I want to make sure.
But I think brick is buys to be measured.
That's my question.
Let me ask Mr. Mancho or Mr. Moreno, see if they have any questions at this time, then I'll come back to you, Ms. Casas.
I just wanted to touch on the old buildings. You said you're gonna connect the water and the electricity. And who's gonna take care of the inside once it's connected? Is that gonna be from our crew?
In terms of maintenance or
Mr. Chair, again, the option that's being presented today is that there's no additional monies for those facilities. But what we asked our board to go out and look at the condition of those buildings, and of course staff also, and we feel that the condition of those facilities, they're more modern, they're only about 10, 12 years old. We don't feel that they would take as much money, besides when they tie the sanitary, sewer, gas, and those kind of lines back together. The rest is more cosmetic, urinals, things like that we can change to bring it up to code or compliance or whatever we kind of use it for. But we were gonna do that.
Thank you.
District staff.
Yeah, that was my only concern. I didn't know how old the buildings were, and I apologize, I wasn't here at the last board meeting, so.
And what that is, a Vestal, of course, is that kinder wing, and then on the other side, it's the library and the science and those other classrooms. Those two standalone buildings in the back of the old Vestal.
But that is a good question that it came up, because it does have to be updated for adults, because if the district is going to be utilizing those for whatever purpose it is, and if it's going to change from pre-K to some other classification, then the bathrooms have to be upgraded. But my understanding is it's going to be done by staff in-house.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Moreno, you had a question?
Yeah, I mean, more than anything else, I'm probably going to ask further questions when we're discussing on the vote. But one thing that just came to mind was, in most instances that I've noticed, is the library shares a lab. Is that going to be the case in these scenarios as well? Lab inside the computer lab inside the library as well?
There would be space in the media center in the library for computers, but it would not be a separate full-blown lab, as I understand it.
We have, under the other support, if you have this chart in front of you that has
Sorry.
other support facilities, if you look at that page, it does have science, music room, speech, etc. So
Yeah.
you have 900 square feet.
So I'm just, well, I mean, I'd rather it not be a part of it, so I'm assuming they're all going to be a part,
It
or
would
that
be
it,
additional, it would be
Okay.
2,000 plus 900.
okay.
And in the detailed design, that could be organized, as to the preference of the district to be a combination or to be separate.
Whatever you choose. But this is not the design yet. Mr. Chair, should we continue?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chair, can you repeat the square footage on the gymnasium for both schools?
3,200 on one option, the other one is 3,000.
And then, Mr. Chair, what I'd like, Mr. Soto now has the concrete numbers on the, I know specifically the square footage on the cafeteria stage and the cafeteria kitchen area. Yes, sir.
I do apologize, I did have it in front of me, I just have so much paperwork, but the cafeteria was 4482. The kitchen was 1240, and the stage was 560. For a grand total of 6282.
Thank you, sir. And of course, that comparison is 60, almost 6,300 compared to the options that are 71. Thank you.
Now I'm worried because at first I was like, man, these guys are going to get all this new space So that's about 900 more, almost 1,000, a little better than 1,000. It's about right, I think. It might be a little bit tighter than I think they wanted, but I think that'll work. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I was Jasmine or Coy, where exactly are the gymnasiums located in both of the two options? Or if we're here at Vessel, we can do Vessel, and then we can give us Carabel. Can you show us where the gym is at? Because they want to get an idea of the cafeteria to the gym.
At Carol Bell, combination gymnasium cafeteria next to the fitness. And same applies at West.
So again, basically from what you shared there with me, they'll be both located in the ground level, lower level, and they'll be probably pretty much side by side in some form or
Yes,
fashion.
and immediately adjacent to the driveways for pickup.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Madrigal, anything that is right here, it goes all the way
To the top.
the same level as the second floor's roof. It has a taller ceiling and volume. And the way it's planned, master plan, it has been in such a way that you can open the cafeteria to the gymnasium, so in case you have any kind of function or meetings, you could utilize the whole space by opening doors. That's the part. The only part that's gonna be 2 levels is gonna be the classrooms. Anything else, with the elevator, of course, anything else is 1 level. Same on the other campus.
Thank you.
What option is that, Ms. Azima?
They're both.
No. I'm asking what option is that one? No,
6, ma'am.
the other one, Miss.
This one?
Yes, that's 5, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, Jasmine, thank you for clarifying there. It was a good question that one of our board members had, and I just wanted to clarify it for all. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Caceres.
This is the only thing that I kind of see when I'm looking at this whole setup right now, that I have a concern about where the playground is because it's so far away from the school when we're looking at Vestal and on both options, option 5 and option 6. The green square rectangular box on the outside right there by the parking lot? Correct. Why wouldn't y'all be able to do that playground over by where that parking lot is, right above it, and switch it around so that the playground can be closer to the kids?
That's an option.
But real quick, aren't those set playgrounds?
No,
I believe that we were gonna move them anyway, correct, Jasmine? Were we gonna move those set playgrounds all in one?
Yeah, because they're right there with the parking lots.
right now where the parking lot is, there's a playground right there. Okay. So my concern is that when the teachers do have to take the students out to play when it's a nice day and they don't want to take them to the gym, or it's, a nice day for them to be outdoors, they're gonna have to go across the parking lot and walk a little bit of a ways just to get to that playground when it could just be flipped over the other way and the parking lots could be further out and the playground on the other side.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
again, Ms. Costa brings a good point. The one thing I do want to share with Jasmine and Mr. Molina, because of course they're part of the programming process and stuff. I think there's ample room. Right as I look at the picture and that option, the last option here to the right on the driveway, where you could put, like she says, the playground where the parking lot's at, and bump the parking lot closer up to kind of be side by side with the other existing parking lot. So, Mr. Molina, take that parking lot right there, move it north, put the playground north to there, and then that parking lot north, further north. Further
I
up.
have to say something though.
That's a house?
When we met on March the 8th,
Okay.
that's why it's a house. The idea was that, this is how the flow was going to be, as far as bus drop off and parents. And this area right here is as part of it. If you flip this, that's going to be a concern as far as the drop off. If you have parents drop off, then you have bus drop off.
Yeah.
There's 2 different issues. But we can, once you get an architect, we can basically work with them in flipping it. But the idea originally was how this was coming this direction, and then it would go this way, and then you had this new parking space that was discussed in the user group, etc., where it would accommodate parking for the parents, et cetera, and here was your other cases of being able to drop off. And also, the other thing that I need to remind everyone, we were tasked to make sure that this facility would house two schools going parallel. That's another thing you need to remember. Now, you decide to go simultaneously rather than sequential, that should be non-issue. If you decide to go parallel, then we have to have, the architect needs to have bus drop-off, parents, parking.
Jasmine, the other thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm at a pretty good distance from here now, that north of those three red buildings, those existing Vestal buildings, that's also play area also.
Yes.
Yes.
And I also might add that the interior circulation between the existing buildings and the new Vestal is a parking, or rather driveway configuration that was requested by the user group. That way there could be dual drop-off locations at the back and the front. When you get to the detailed design, you may or may not wish to do that once everything is looked at more carefully in terms of actual space.
And again, Ms. Parsons, if you decide and choose to go both projects parallel, well, then that would be no issue to flip them. But if you go to campus, having bus drop-off and parents parking, then that has to be the way that the principal can work it.
Mr. Chair. Ms. Jasmine, I just wanted to make sure when it comes to the cafeteria and the gymnasium, just because of the way it looks on the,
Right here?
yeah, on the diagram and the way it's titled on the diagram, since we don't have like a line going through it or we don't have it sectioned off, I just want to make sure that we're not, and I'm just going to give you a really silly example. So this is the cafeteria, we're not overlaying the gym over it when it comes to square footage? Okay.
No. This is what it is right here.
Uh-huh.
It goes from here all the way up. So it's the same here. From here to here is all gymnasium, kitchen, and cafeteria. And then the classroom starts, there's a line here, maybe it's not, this is hard to see. From here on to the classroom.
Well, even in that explanation, so can you tell me just with your finger, like, up to here is cafeteria, up to here is gym?
Okay, here's the kitchen.
Yeah,
Then is your cafeteria, then is your gym.
gotcha, okay.
Is it all connected?
They have doors that you can open, but the kitchen, the stage, and the cafeteria having some kind of demising and all the lanes and stuff. But the one for the gym, it has its own doors. You can open the door to the cafeteria, but they just have its own room for the gym.
Mr. Molina, without having a scale, the play area on that one right there, we're at, the one north of the red buildings, the north of, or let's start with that one. What is it, comparable to a football field? What is
I would say-
the length and width?
This is 68 feet, so that's, this would be doubled, so it's about 120 feet. It's still parking lot width. Take this width,
So it's a little thinner than a football field.
it's lower.
Mr. Chair, I just don't see where that option 6 on Vestal would be even a viable or good option, because there's no road right behind the new campus to connect it to the other street. Because on the left side of that, sir?
There's this one.
Okay, I understand that,
So
I
would
see that.
this and come on this way. And this is a fire combination service and fire access.
Okay, so then that one wouldn't really be used as much.
No.
But if there's a lot of traffic, when there's two campuses, let's say we have two campuses being built at the same time, right?
Currently there is a road.
Right there, right, I understand, there is a road. Okay. I just think that's the better setup right there. And not only that, why wouldn't you be able to push that road right there a little further up to give you more play area? What's all that empty space where your fingers are right there?
That would be green area, play area, but it can be shifted up. And that's in this location right now because that's where the current program is. But there's no reason why it couldn't be shifted.
That certainly could be looked at in detail, but in terms of turning radiuses and other things that are required for cars, there is a minimum turning radius that's required to wrap those drives around. So there's some flexibility there in the specific location. But if you're going to have a drive there, I guess bottom line, it is taking out some space. In one of the earlier schemes that was discussed with the user group, we didn't have the drive in the back, so that all of that area basically was available for play space. The current user group felt that the double drop-off, having the capability to drop students off in the back was a big plus, and that there would be enough play area outside otherwise.
While we're on the drive, this drive is not only for this option, we just did it so you can see how tight it was and what it was like. So if you choose this option, we can still incorporate this current drive.
And one of the things that I need to add, the idea for Vessel was that you build a brand new one here, you keep the existing one in function. Once the new one is finished, the existing vessel will move to the new, and then the Carabelle moves here, and then the architect and contractor will work on the.
Well, we're trying to see what we can do to try to have them both built together.
Right,
That's-
if you do that, then none of this would be a problem, because then this can be split, because currently, the concern is number of, parking for your parents drop off, your bus drop off, and how you can have two campuses going at the same location. That's why it's planned that way. If you don't do that, then it won't be a problem.
I have a quick question, not for anybody here, but my fellow board members. Did anybody take the opportunity to go walk the campuses just so that they could get an idea? I don't know if y'all had a chance to
I
do
think
that.
most of it, I walk Vestal.
Okay.
Mr. Moreno?
I'm just saving all my questions for after the presentation, so that's what I'm waiting for. I have a lot of questions, but.
I think what we need to do is make a motion on which, I mean, y'all want to keep it within the 19 million or the 20 million, which either option. And at that time, we can start further discussion.
Okay, and these options both include that you have the soft cost as well? Is that correct?
Let me show.
When you're giving
the
us the
board,
totals?
the board president has stated that he's allowing us 2 minutes. Basically, at the moment, I'm just taking over because this is numbers area that I can maybe assist in 2 minutes. The fall project, which is as part of the bond 2015, what it had entailed was 6% basic fee for architect, 1.2% fee for landscape and civil, and over 3.9% for other soft costs that district has paid. Okay. So what we did for transparency, which you have a hard copy, it shows exactly what the district has paid. Currently, after the board meeting we had on April the 11th, in order to bring the cost more and more down, there was so much we could bring down in the hard cost, which is the construction estimate. But then furthermore, we went back and talked to the team of architect and their soft costs and brought the 11.9% that the district had paid for soft costs of geotech, material testing, test and balance, subsurface utility engineering, civil, landscape, tree preservation, kitchen, etc., down to from the soft cost that you see on the screen, which is 4.7% plus another 1% down to 2%. So overall now, rather than paying 11.9, district would be contracting for 7.75% with the current architect that they have chose. That gives a net saving of 4.15%, which also reduces our fee because we would not be getting our markup either. So the net saving after paying Jasmine Engineering and everybody else is shown on the right column in green, which shows that you have substantial amount of saving after this current negotiation, and architect fortunately has agreed to incorporate all those soft costs. As part of the transparency, our fee for different options is shown on the screen. After paying our programming fee at the rate that we are now, you still have a net saving left for the future. So this is the last slide that the board president allowed us. We appreciate the opportunity.
If you pick the option 6 for Carabel and 5 for Vestal, after our fee of being paid for programming, you still have $985,000 saving left. If you pick the other options for Carabel and Vestal, you still have $903,000 saving left. So that's basically where we are as far as negotiating the cost down. Now, district has never paid this low for the soft cost, and it has been a challenge of several weeks of negotiation, and furthermore from last week to be able to bring it down to where it is. So.
Yeah, those are based on the work we did.
So let's make a motion, and I'm gonna ask, to be honest with you, whoever makes the motion, and at this point, I think depending on the further dialogue, I'll be supportive of either one. But let me ask you all this. I'm not too through, I mean, I love the idea that the cafeterium is at that size, that's what the school deserves. And I understand that for option 7 and 6, we had the hallways, I mean, we can live with that. But I can't live with the gym being at that. So, is it possible to increase the size of the gyms? And, I mean, where they're located now? That's my question.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The reason is, Mr. Chair, you have to come down more this direction.
Okay.
So that's not an issue on this plan. On this plan, and again, it depends if you are going both campus operating at the same time. Because you have Vestal and Carabel in this form.
Mr.
So
Chair.
if you don't, that's even better. But you have room to move.
Mr. Chair.
Because you're only talking about.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Mr. Quesada?
I think the question would be, I think, anything's possible, but would it be possible to do that? Let's just say we pick either option. Today we picked either option, then we gave a directive to increase the size of the gym. Would it be possible to stay within that budget and take from somewhere else to increase the gym?
Well, that's not where I'm heading.
That's not where you're headed.
Yeah. I know that to increase, I don't want to take any more from either option,
So you want,
especially the one that's already been cut. We could probably take it from one option, but not from the other.
so you're thinking of suggest, I'll let you finish with your thoughts.
So basically, like, I think Vestal, one's 20 million, the other one's 19 million. One's cutting the hallways and roughly, no? Am I off?
Well, I apologize. I think you don't have 20 million. I think
21?
one is 1920. But again, Mr. Chair, is it sequential or is it simultaneous?
Well, let's do it
That's $680,000 difference.
just to build it, without worrying about if we're gonna have to add the extra.
No, I apologize for my question, if I may one more time. Are you talking about Vestal and Carabel being built at the same time or one after another?
One after the other.
One after another, it is 19.8 million on one of them, and the other one is, I think, 19,102,000. if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. But let me-
So, yeah. So to clarify, Mr. Quesada, if it's going to be the 19.8, then yes, reduce some space to keep it at 19.8. But if we choose the 19, we can't cut any further. Then at that case, and then at that point, add a little bit more to cover that extra 1,000 square feet for the gym. So I'm okay. We reduce the cost. If we keep it at the higher end, but at the lower ends, it's already been cut. We need to add that little extra amount for that extra square footage in the gym. Those are just my thoughts. Did you get it? No. So we have the 19.8 million and then the 19 million. I'm okay. I want to add 1,000, whatever the 1,200 square feet for the gyms. So for the one that's a 19.8, we can get it from there, meaning we have to reduce a little bit here and there. But if I choose option, the other one that's a 19 million, then I don't want to reduce anymore. We already reduced it. So then we have to add a little bit to that to cover that extra 1,200 square feet in the gym. So one option is to keep it where it's at, reduce a little bit further inside. The other one is just add that extra amount to cover that extra 1,200 square feet in the gym.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Odesta.
Mr. Hernandez, going with the option of the 19.8 million, we're gonna be where afterwards?
If we do the, on
Carol Bell in, at option 6, and if we do option 5 together, then we're gonna be over budget by $1,930,000. If we do Carol Bell option 7 and Vestal option 6, we'll be under budget by $151,000. If we do Carol Bell option 6 and Vestal option 6, then we'll be over $968,000. And if we do Carol Bell option 7 and Vestal option 5, then we'll be over $810,000. Basically, the budget we have is $38 million. So whichever one we select, we need to add those two up, and whatever in excess of the $38 million that they are, that's the amount that we're over budget on.
Mr. Moreno?
Well, in this case, I would go for the 19.9 for Carabel. But in looking at the numbers, Mr. Hernandez, from last week, the chart that you gave us, I don't know if you revised it or not, but I was anticipating more or less about 40 million would be our total budget. So in the numbers I was doing for the one that was 19.9 and 19.1, I would assume that we would be under 1.1 million in budget. So that's why I was voting or going towards that direction. So are those numbers different now from the ones you gave us last week, where we were at 42,773,677 project costs remaining, and then I kind of negated the other remaining contract payout, which is 2.058, $278.21 dollars, which kind of gave a more or less rough number of 40 million, because that's the number in my head that I was looking at. It was 40 million total budget, not 38 point or 39 point that you were giving us right now.
Yes, sir. And what you're referring to is the $42,773,000. Now, what